The European project GAINN4MOS, Sustainable LNG Operations for Ports and Shipping Innovative Pilot Actions, coordinated by the Fundación Valencia Port and co-funded by the European Union's Connecting Europe Facility Programme, is a market-sided innovation action within the global project called GAINN. The GAINN Global Project aims at supporting EU member states, policymakers, ports and ship owners operating in the EU Atlantic and Mediterranean countries to comply with MARPOL Annex 6 and Directive on the sulfur content of marine fuels in the most efficient way by facilitating the growth of the use of LNG as a marine fuel in the maritime and port logistics industry, and to comply with a directive on the deployment of alternative fuels infrastructure. In particular, GAINN4MOS aims to improve the motorways of the sea network in 6 member states: Spain, France, Croatia, Italy, Portugal and Slovenia, by carrying out engineering studies and prototypes on ship retrofitting and new buildings, port LNG infrastructures and bunkering stations at core ports. As one of the principal milestones of the GAINN4MOS project, the Italy Ministry of Infrastructure and Transport has coordinated the elaboration of the basic and detailed engineering studies of a small RoPax LNG-powered ferry of Caronte and Tourist SPA. The studies have included also all those new aspects that have to be adapted, improved and fine-tuned according to the use of LNG as fuel, such as skills and training needs. After completing the engineering studies, the prototype of this small LNG RoPax ship, named Elio, has been built in Sefine shipyard and was delivered on the 22nd of October 2018. This ship is already being piloted in real-life operations in the Strait of Messina, linking Sicily and Italy mainland. The Elio vessel is the first LNG eco-friendly ferry to sail the Mediterranean. It is a double-ended 7-deck ferry designed to operate in EU Class D areas, able to carry passengers, private cars, trucks and trailers. The main dimensions of the ship are 133.6 meters in length, 21.5 meters in breadth and 6.5 meters in depth, and she has maximum capacity for 290 private cars, 1,500 people and 35 trucks. The main engines are dual-fuel engines designed by Wärtsilä with a total power of 9,000 kilowatts. The LNG tank's capacity is about 150 cubic meters. Service and maximum speeds are respectively 12.5 and 15 knots. The ship is Italian flagged and RENA classed with gas-fueled notation, IGF compliant.
Elio, it's the first one of a new concept of ships which we are aiming to utilize for the next 10 or 20 years.
Furthermore, this project has fostered greener, safer and sustainable maritime transport by reducing operational costs associated with fuel consumption, on average by 30%, and by reducing CO2 emissions by 20% and sulfur emissions by 80% with the new building of this LNG vessel. On the port side, in addition to the engineering studies on port LNG infrastructures carried out by the project partners, bunkering stations have been piloted to supply LNG to ships and trucks and to supply LNG to satellite stations along the Atlantic and Mediterranean coast. Specifically, LNG bunkering systems have been piloted in the ports of Venice, Nantes-Saint-Nazaire and Fos-Marseille. Regarding the LNG infrastructure at the Port of Venice, the prototype's realization concerned the LNG truck refueling station located in the Venice port hinterland, Padova. Finally, the LNG terminal operator, Allongy, has upgraded its LNG multimodal facilities in Fos-Marseille, Fos-Tonquin and Fos-Cavaou to supply LNG as fuel to ship and truck users and to supply to satellite stations along the Mediterranean coast. Studies and construction spanned from 2015 to June 2019, which has made it possible to boost the existing capacity on the Fos-Tonkan LNG terminal and to load up to 40 trucks a day in the new Fos-Cavao LNG truck loading station. Moreover, to offer bunkering services to LNG barges and ships in the port of Marseille-Fos, LNG has also fitted out the jetty in Fos-Cavao.
So now, thanks to this project concerning the bunker vessels, we can receive 50 bunker vessels per year, so approximately one per week. So the infrastructure is in place to develop this market in the harbor of Marseille-Fos.
In the same way, LNG has developed similar installations in its LNG terminal of Montois de Bretagne, located in the port of Nantes-Saint-Nazaire. Firstly, they have developed the engineering studies of the LNG truck and ISO containers loading facilities and jetty adaptation for accommodating and loading LNG bunker vessels. Finally, the truck loading installations have been built. This is a first step towards multimodal hubs supplying LNG by trucks and bunker vessels, but also potentially by rail and river barge. Finally, within the GAINN4MOS project, different LNG training sessions have been conducted with the objective to provide project partners and other personnel related to the management or use of LNG with knowledge about this marine fuel. In these courses held by the Jovellano Center, IMAT Training Center and Fundación Valencia Port headquarters, the properties of LNG have been studied and put into practice. Specific training has also been performed for the Elio vessel's crew. This project began in January 2015 and finished in September 2019. 20 partners and 21 implementing bodies have participated in GAINN4MOS, among which are public entities such as port authorities and ministries, as well as private partners dealing with LNG industry and maritime sector. GAINN4MOS – Sustainable LNG operations for ports and shipping, innovative pilot actions.